Hello all, myself Pornima Bhagwat and today I am going to speak on principles of inheritance and variation. So let's start on some with important terms that are going to help us further in the chapter. First is the genetics. What is genetics? It is the study of heredity and variation. Heredity is the transfer of characters from parents to offsprings, and variation is the difference between these characters which are transferred from parents to the progeny. Now, what is gene? Gene is the fundamental unit of inheritance, and allele is the complementary term for it. Allele is the pair of gene either with the same or contrasting character. Next is the dominant character, the character which is expressed in a capital letter. For example, capital R and small r. It represents the shade shape. Now here the capital one is the round shape one. Therefore, the round shape is the dominant character. Now next is the recessive character. The recessive character is expressed in a small letter. Let us take us the same example, that is capital R and small r. Here the small r is recessive one and it represents the wrinkle shape. Next is the homozygous. Homozygous is the condition in which chromosome pair carries similar alleles of gene. For example, capital T, small t, capital R, capital R. It represents the tallness and dwarfness or the round shape or wrinkle shape respectively. Now, heterozygous is completely opposite of this. It is the condition in which chromosome pair carries different alleles of gene. For example, capital T, capital R, small r, etc. Homozygous is also known as true breeding line. Next is the phenotype. Phenotype is the visible characters of an individual which are expressed physically. For example, tallness or dwarfness, the color of the flower, that is violet or white, or the shape of the seed, for example, round or wrinkled. These are known as phenotype characters. Next is the genotype. Genotype is the genetic constitution of a character. Now let's come on to the next topic. It is known as Gregor Mendel. Gregor Mendel is known as the father of genetics. Mendel developed principles of heredity while studying 7 pairs of inherited characters in pea plant. Means Mendel used pea plants to prove his law of inheritance. While studying this, he he studied 7 pairs of inherited characters in pea plants. Although significance of his work was not recognized during lifetime, it has become basis for the present-day field of genetics. During his time, his work remained unrecognized due to some reason, but it has now become the basis for the field of genetics. Now, how did Mendel approach? First of all, he conducted a hybridization experiment for 7 years, that is from 1856 to 1863, and he proposed the law of inheritance. He was the first that he applied statistical analysis and mathematical logic for biology problems. His experiments contained large sampling size and greater credibility to data. He cross-pollinated true breeding lines obtained by continuous self-pollination. Now, what is a true breeding line? It is just like the homozygous condition. It is and shows the stable trait inheritance which is obtained by continuous self-pollination. Now next is the confirmation. For proving his inheritance, confirmation of inference from experiments on successive generation of test plants through general rules of inheritance. Now this large sampling size and greater credibility to data contributed in inference from experiments on successive generation by which he proved the rules of inheritance. Mendel investigated 2 opposing traits, for example tall or dwarf, yellow or green, to prove his law of inheritance. Now these were the 7 characters which were selected by Mendel, which contributed to prove his law of inheritance. So there are 7 characters and among them they are divided in dominant and recessive. First is the stem height. In stem height, the dominant one is tall while the recessive is dwarf. Flower color, dominant one is violet while recessive is white. Flower position, dominant one is axial while recessive is terminal. Pod shape, dominant is inflated and recessive is constricted. In pod color, dominant is green and recessive is yellow. In seed shape, dominant is round while recessive is wrinkled. In seed color, dominant is yellow and recessive is green. So basically these are 7 characters which Mendel used for as the opposing traits in a pea plants.